Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another Late Nights with Warm Whiskey. Tonight, we're going to be diving back into our coverage of Blanton single barrel offerings from Buffalo Trace Distillery. As I stated in my earlier video, the Blanton single barrel standard edition 93 proof was the first single barrel bourbon marketed in the U.S., I believe perhaps worldwide, named after the former distillery president, Colonel Albert B. Blanton. All of these are aged in their metal warehouse H. Tonight, we are covering the Blanton's Gold Edition, and this has traditionally been a European select Asian market offering, very limited and available in those markets. Nowadays, it is available inside the United States, with the caveat that it is a very limited release, and you're going to have some clever hunting to pin one of these down. And I believe now the Gold Edition, Gold Label, the Straight from the Barrel are both offered inside the U.S. at this point in time. Maybe very hard to track down. But these are European bottlings that I have. I do not have the U.S. releases of these. Tonight, the Gold Edition is coming to me courtesy of Mr. D. Light. And I have the Straight from the Barrel coming from the Czech Republic and a good friend, Henry. So thank you to both of you gentlemen for bringing these whiskeys to my greedy little mitts to taste, enjoy, and review for all of you. And with that said, I am going to pop the top. We get the gold-plated horsey. So if anybody does not know, and I believe I covered it in my other video, all of these have letters that will spell out the word Blanton's, and they cover the positions of a racehorse from start to finish to victory. And this happens to be the A. So I think that's pretty much mid race. He's on there. He digging down. He's making that horsey go. And so this happens to be a bourbon whiskey dumped on 11/6/17 from barrel number 174, stored in warehouse H, of course, and it is on Rick number 31, and it is bottle 273. How they're getting that many bottles out of a barrel might have to do with maybe a little chill filtration, stretching that barrel out a little bit further. They're definitely that side of it that a lot of people don't perhaps understand as well too. You're displacing the non-water soluble compounds out of that spirit, and therefore it can be replenished with water. Of course, this proofing is a little bit higher at 103 proof, so 10 proof above your standard single barrel Blantons. With that said, let's dive into the nose, and I'll tell you what I get. Right off the bat, and this is something I will give credit due to Buffalo Trace, to some of their Blantons, the Elmer T. Lee. They have a wonderful bouquet on the nose. The aromas and experience that you get on the nose of these whiskeys can be really fantastic. And above the actual flavor or palate of the whiskey, some of their whiskeys' noses truly can be captivating. And Blanton's has become this big, juggernaut and highly sought after, whiskey. And there's so much hype behind it, and then there is hate. So between the hype and between the hate, somewhere lies what you're really getting. And as I said in earlier videos, what you're getting is a single barrel product, which means sometimes you're going to get a bottle that is good. Sometimes you're going to get a bottle that is fantastic. And every once in a while, rarely, you'll get a bottle that is just meh, which was my first experience with the Blanton's Gold label. The first bottle that I was able to obtain of this whiskey was meh. I tried to warm up to it. I gave it time. It had a odd tannic sour note to it that was just off, and it didn't suit my palate. And it got a little bit better with time and air and being opened up, but I really didn't enjoy it. This barrel has pleasantly surprised me, which is what can happen when you're dealing with single barrel products. They can vary subtly or they can vary drastically. And palate change, diet changes, and there are many factors that will, and you evolve in your taste as well. But what I will say is this barrel has been fantastic. The nose is spot on. There is a wonderful honey citrus note followed by tobacco, a lovely slight hint of leather. There is apples, cherries, allspice. And again, there is that wonderful oak that just rides and is the backbone of the whole experience of the nose of this whiskey. Let's just go right in and we'll give you our interpretation of what arrives on the palate of this one. Everything on the nose is translating very well to the palate. The tobacco, the leather notes kind of don't hit on the palate, but there are all the fruits, the apples, cherries, perhaps some sort of baked berry pie. Getting the oak, a wonderful sweet honeyed caramel. The black tea is there. And the hints of citrus and baking spice are there on the palate. And it rides off pretty well. Definitely the higher proof aids the finish and carries those flavors over much better. So I've had a couple tastings and bottles of the Blanton's Gold label, Gold Edition. And as I've said, I've had a meh bottle. I've had a good bottle. This, I believe, is a fantastic bottle. So take that for whatever you will. And please bear in mind that fact when you're tasting single barrel products. You're only going to get so many numbers out of each given barrel. The differences between it and others could be, very subtle to very drastic. And take your chance, go out there, get yourself some single barrels. These may be hard to obtain, but you never know. sometimes you get lucky. And on that note, I think we'll wrap up our coverage of your Blanton's Gold Edition. Next up, we are going to cover the straight from the barrel. And beyond that, we're going to start mixing it up, and we're going to go low shelf, top shelf, everywhere in between. I do not discriminate, and I keep a very open mind. Be it bourbon, be it Scotch, be it Irish, be it various world whiskeys, craft whiskeys, distilleries, any and all and in between. I do not discriminate. I try to keep an open mind, and I try to find a redeeming quality in almost everything I try. And if I don't, I'll be honest about it. Again, these are very highly sought after, hyped whiskeys, but bear in mind, they're not all going to be the same. And if and when you do get a chance to get one, treat yourself, enjoy it, and happy hunting. Until next time, if you care to, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment, criticize me if you will, or compliment me, whichever. I'm game for both. So, I enjoy this. Hopefully you guys do. It's all for some fun. Take care.